All right, Jay coming at you here. So I wanted to do overview, I guess, of my take on the GameRoomSolutions 32-inch full-size arcade cabinet. Number one, I have to say it is fantastic. I mean, overall, man, great job. I mean, Ryan and Tina over at GameRoomSolutions did a great job taking care of me. Shipping was super quick. I had a little episode with the front kick plate being damaged. It got a pretty hard shot. It was cracked. They shipped me out a new one, which I got within the week. And I put this all together, and I'll go over some of the details on the build. What you see going there right now for a front end is crisp I Died Once version 2, which is a HyperPie image, and it's version 2, which has got HyperPie going there. It's the latest, at least as far as I can find, one of the later versions of the front end. I wanted HyperPie because of the interactive menus, and it really looks great. Crisp did a fantastic job. I actually been working on the image and improving it, adding scripts and taking care of some cleaning up house items and stuff on menus and whatnot. And I've improved it. That's a constant work in progress, but for the most part, I got her where I want her, and I did a ton of programming on this thing. There was a lot of work behind the scenes. I got actually, you see there hanging on the bottom of the cabinet, I actually have 2 Ultramark aim-track light guns. One's recoil, one's not recoil. I'm actually changing the one out that's not recoil only because the recoil version is that much better. I like the feel of it. It feels a little bit more better in your hands. It's got more weight to it too, and it's really cool to have the kickback when you're shooting. So really good stuff. So let me go through some of this stuff with you. As you can see here on the control panel, number one, the graphics on this thing, right? I did not do the graphics on this. Another one of GameRoomSolutions customers did this graphics. I just chose it. I customed the bezel around the screen. That's not the one that came with it, but we're big Star Wars fans here, my kids, my wife, and I wanted something really cool, a piece that symbolized elegance. And this, I mean, look at the detail on this thing. This thing is just fantastic, right? On all sides, it's just really cool. The lighted bezel there, the marquee, really neat. I lit that up with LEDs back there. I put an authentic coin door, and I did a little modification here myself. I lit up the coin buttons there. All right, those weren't lit up. I actually added those LEDs on there to give it that look. On the actual control panel, I got everything, right? So I got a spinner, I got a 3-inch trackball. It's a 22 button configuration. It's got Sanwa 8-way joysticks, which can be changed to 4-way, which you need to when you're playing Pac-Man and some of these other games, because they're like impossible to play if you don't change it. So underneath, I'll show you what I got underneath here. So it's all running on the Pi. That's a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, right? And I said I had to really work hard to get the 2 light guns working. That was an incredible amount of trial and error on the program using Advane 1.4, but I ended up figuring it out, and I got them both working, and they worked really well. The wiring is a little sloppy only because I have a lot of excess, and I didn't want to cut the ends that were already tinned to go into the iPac 2, which is buried back here. I didn't want to worry about re-tinning the wires. It's just easier to tie, to screw them into the terminals. I just tied up the excess wiring. It would have been a lot cleaner if I shortened them, but I didn't feel like doing it. But so in here, I'll explain what I got going on. That's the amp. I actually purchased an amp. It was like 19 bucks, and I did a 2.1 setup on this. There's actually an 8-inch sub, which I'll show you in the cabinet, because not only am I using this for games, it's being used for music. I got Cody on there, so it's got really good low end. That amp is 50 watts times 2 and 100 watts for the sub, and it runs it great. It runs it really well. It takes 24 volts. I'm running a 32 volt power supply off an old printer, so I installed a voltage regulator here to drop the voltage in the amps for this amplifier, because I didn't want to burn it out. So I got it dialed in at exactly 24 volts, which is its max, and I think I have it at 4 amps. Extra controller, remotes. This is the RGB LED remote for the trackball, which is really programmed. It's just in there. I got a keyboard that I can plug into if I want. I'm using up all the USBs now on here. 2 are for the light guns. What else is it? 1 is for the controller and 1 is for the iPack, right? And all of the spinner and the trackball are plugged in directly into the iPack too. If I did have a complaint about Ultimark's hardware, and this is all Ultimark for the most part, the buttons are your traditional buttons, nothing special about those, but all the rest of the hardware is Ultimark, which is good stuff. They really need to have longer wires for the spinner and the trackball. I actually had to extend them. They're not long enough. There's no way. I don't know why they sell them that way. So just FYI, if you're gonna build something of this nature, you're probably gonna want an extension on those wires. So I ended up making some wires and did that. But right there is just a menu for a Star Wars. I guess there's a category in the as far as it's called collections, and I just put in there just to give it a good presence as I'm videoing here. So I'll take you around the back, and this is this side. I'll show you this side here. The cabinet itself was not too bad to put together. I took my time, but if I were to have any qualms about this cabinet, oh, also the speakers there, kind of hard to tell. Those that's a custom job I did on the speakers. I actually cut out that panel to put the speakers on the outside. They're typically with GameRoomSolutions cabinet, they're supposed to go underneath without the grills. I wanted it more finished look, so I took my jigsaw and I actually cut out the speakers to mount them from the outside to make it look better. It's hard to tell there with the lighting, but they're cheap Boss speakers. They're nothing great. They sound okay. They're not bad, and they got a little red. You can see the red underneath, which looks really cool with the cabinet. But they sound decent enough. They're not bad for music. I'm a huge audiophile, so I could have put more money into the speakers, but I didn't. So I'll take you around the back. I'll show you what I did on the back here. So there's 2 panels here that open up. I'll open up this bottom one where you can really see everything, right? That's the sub right there. That little white tray I put on there on top of the sub to collect quarters. That coin door actually works. So it's a working coin door, just for fun. Up there you'll see that I have, that's the power supply for all the LEDs in the marquee. I actually used an old Replay TV power supply that I was going to throw out. It was outdated. It was a standard definition Replay TV, and I basically cracked it open and I took that power supply out of it. So all the LEDs, everything's running off of that. You can see all the wiring that I did there that's connected to it, and that's going to all the buttons. It's going to the trackball, the LED, the RGB lighting on the trackball. Everything pretty much is going to that for the lighting. The power strip is down there. I have a really cool power strip. I have one more outlet left, which is perfect. That's where the other power supply is going to be tied in to power the other aim track gun when I get it. And that's the that's where everything's coming out of from underneath the top of the control panel. So that's the cabinet pretty much. The top, nothing special here. This is the TV, the 32-inch TV. If there's one gripe I gotta have you know, with GameRoomSolutions on the portion of the TV, if you need to clean this over time, if dust gets behind it, this is not an easy thing to get to. I think I'm able to with the way it's designed, because it's grooved. There's just this is plexiglass. There's no way to remove that TV unless you take this whole thing apart, and it's a pain in the ass, quite honestly. So I wish there was a way to get easier to the front of the screen. The other thing is, since I put a bar up here for the aim track light gun, I had to actually trim out about another inch off the top of the bezel cut out on the screen to properly get the LEDs, the light bar to reflect properly against the light guns, otherwise they wouldn't work. So that was a little extra step I had to take as well. So if that's my, part of my only gripes was that the TV aspect of being able to get to behind it, and even the speakers, I think maybe downstream, just productive input, I guess I can say, for GameRoomSolutions is maybe give people the option of those things, if they want the speakers to show on the outside, and inquire if they're going to do light guns to, you're going to need more room in the bezel, and I cut it just perfect so you really don't see the edge of the TV at all, quite honestly. It still looks great, it looks finished. Anyways, that's my review. Oh, I have to give a shout out to Rich at tmolding.com. He did a great job taking care of me. Got me everything promptly, quick shipping. Addressed some issues I had with some of the buttons. Some of my blue buttons weren't illuminating properly because of the plastic filament that's underneath that gives it that blue appearance. Some of the light wasn't coming through properly on some of them. So he addressed that. He's helped me out with the guns. Great guy, great guy. I definitely will be back. I'm going to be doing a virtual pinball machine. I'm also getting that cabinet from GameRoomSolutions. So I'm looking forward to doing that. This took enough hours though, man. This took a lot of time. It took a lot more time for me to do the image and take care of the programming side and the front end more than anything. But I'm really happy with the way it came out. So I hope you guys like what you see, and I'll leave some more information in the description of my video, and give a like. Thanks a lot.